What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an exciting video preparation on my Dark Dimension 6 progress. But more specifically, guys, I want to talk about which characters and team I'm going to be bringing into my Dark Dimension 6 legendary section involving the non-horsemen, but as well following that, obviously we can use Apocalypse and any horsemen involved. So having said that, guys, this journey started months ago when we first started planning, the global, the cosmic, the city sections. What you see on screen right now is every character and team that I've built up since then, and each and every part has made a difference now to this point, right? I want to stress this in the video because really when you're planning for Dark Dimension 6, especially if you're free to play or a low spender, you really want to be planning how the number of traits that you're involved here, the number of characters, and that ultimately is going to determine the bottleneck of what can hold you back, as well as the available options now that we're getting to this final stage of Dark Dimension 6. So as you can see here, summarized below is actually the total of each bio, mutant, mystic, skill, and tech character. Keep in mind, Kestrel does count as both a tech and a skill, so it's getting double counted there, just as a heads up. But overall, I am very, very happy with the number of characters and traits we've brought in. We really try to keep it close, to that 3-4 mark for each and every character around. The one thing I will say is that, as you can see there, my mutants are a little bit lower because Apocalypse and Nemesis did take up quite a bit of materials, which obviously impacted my city progression. But as you can see with my city, I had absolutely no issues, even with not bringing in any mutants like Firestar or Miss Marvel Hard Light. This team was able to get the job done. Now this paints us a really, really good picture of the available options that we can utilize, and the blanks we can fill in, right? So again, guys, MarvelStrikeForce.com has an amazing Dark Dimension 6 planner. Make sure you're using it to plan accordingly. It's very, very important, especially if you're not sure of the resources involved to bring these characters up to gear tier 18. And we still see this being very scarce in the game, really only being available in the supply store as well as featured events when they do come about. So you really want to be strategic with which characters you're bringing up, because at the end of the day, they could add another 2 to 3 weeks to a month of you farming and getting those materials needed to bring them to gear tier 18. But super happy with every character and team I've brought in. They've made some really meaningful progress. I've made a huge playlist. I'll add that below as well for you guys if you're interested in following along. But now we're in the waiting game. We're very, very close to starting here. So I do want to talk about which characters and teams I'm going to be planning to bring in. Based on the gear that I have available, skill was definitely a section that I was being mindful of, because with Black Cat being not only the newest legendary in the game, but as well being part of the arena meta in the Secret Defenders team, it really did make sense. I mean, my goodness, the amount of damage she can do, both her special and her ultimate, is absolutely devastating. And I love the fact that she does have crowd controlling aspects on top of her damage and turn rewind. So with her, it's an instant no-brainer. The fact that she came in was very, very timely. And as well, again, the value that we're getting in the meta, she's definitely one of the strongest options that we see in Dark Dimension 6, and I'm super excited to bring her in for sure. Next up, I think Nova's another no-brainer. As you saw with the other teams and synergies that I've showed earlier, the supporting cast matters quite a bit. You can't be bringing in, just damage. You need characters that have that supportive cast, or at least provide value in terms of, being able to heal, add regen, being able to buy time for your damage dealer to do the work. And what I really like about Nova is his ultimate, right? He's going to be bringing about a very powerful battlefield effect that can actually provide deflects, barrier, healing. This is going to be absolutely huge for us to keep them alive. But I've heard nothing but good things. I think Black Cat and Nova are honestly no-brainers. And the fact that Nova is ironically also used in the unlock for Black Cat, they're going to have that linkage there. And again, Nowhere is definitely one of the best war offense teams. So some really, really good value in bringing in this character and having that synergy. We have an absolute beast here in Omega Red. I mean, unfortunately, with the Weapon X team, they have fallen out of the meta for quite some time, but standalone character, Omega Red has remained to be one of the best legendary characters preceding the Horseman teams and the post-Horseman teams, right? Just because each and every one of his abilities scales with percentage based, and for Dark Dimension 6, that is the name of the game. When you have anything with turn manipulation or percentage based, they're instantly one of the better choices for Dark Dimension 6. both his special and his ultimate has an ability block in some way, shape, or form to be able to provide support, buy some time, but as well being able to steal HP, right? I absolutely love that. His ultimate also has a built-in internal reduction here for turn meter rewind, slow, heal block, and as well being able to have that detrimental flip as well. So I mean, he's going to be a no-brainer for sure. In each one of these characters, different traits, right? Mutant for Omega Red, we got Bio for Nova, and we also have Skill for Black Cat. So each of them balance out really good if you've been building strategically for Dark Dimension 6, which is really what this is all about now. At the end of the day, it's always been a marathon and not a sprint, and now we're finally bringing this all together. Now, these three were instant locks for me. The next two characters are going to be probably more subjective based on your gear and based on your roster. For me, this is what's available, so this is kind of why I'm leaning towards these characters, more so for the gear and not having to wait another month or so. I know Green Goblin has been announced and confirmed, but to be honest, you know, I am eager to get started here, and waiting a couple more months to get started into this section is definitely not something I want to give up, especially when I'm trying to finish in the top 1,000 here, especially being free to play in Dark Dimension 6. So having said that, I do think I'm going to proceed with bringing up Shuri. I previously utilized her in Dark Dimension 5 already, so there was value there, but I feel like my team does need some additional protection, right? Whether it's defense up, healing. I love the fact that her special can actually grant energy as well. It's a darn shame that her team is no longer in the meta. Obviously, Wakandans do have a bit of value in Cosmic Crucible, but again, they kind of fallen off again unless there's a specific rune bonus that really helps his team. However, I do like what Shuri brings as a supportive cast character. Unfortunately, she is tech, and that, you know, coincides obviously with Green Goblin Classic's tech requirement, but I do like how she slots in with the rest of my team. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how this unlock goes, but obviously I still have a bit of time to build up gear. But for the time being, I think I am gonna proceed with Shuri. And based on what I've seen from other strategies and content creators, she's not the worst character, but she's definitely not an amazing Dark Dimension 6 character. So it is what it is. We'll see how she does, and I'll keep you guys up to date, obviously. And last but not least, you know, we kind of alluded this before with the review of all the different traits and characters, but something I am having an abundance in now is mutant gear. So it kind of worked out that way, right? The last time I brought in a mutant character was in the global section, so we had both the cosmic and city sections to build us up, and we are fortunately in a position to bring both Omega Red and Phoenix in terms of gear tier requirements. So Phoenix is looking like a very, very strong choice for me. Unfortunately, completely out of the meta, completely unused in the game. But when it comes to Dark Dimension 6, my goodness, her Dark Phoenix mode absolutely wreaks havoc. It's very darn shame that, you know, statistically she's not good at all. But when we check out her actual, you know, skills, her kit set from Dark Phoenix, I mean, it's just Dark Dimension 6 value written all over, right? Even if you start things off with her special here, stealing a huge whopping 20% from all enemies and redistributing, it's almost an instant heal for the team, assuming she's alive, obviously. But this is a very powerful special ability, and it's gonna be similar when I go through the nodes with Apocalypse, is that once I can restart their deaths, both Phoenix and Apocalypse will be able to have their cooldowns from scratch. So I'm gonna hopefully use that as a way to kind of truck through it, even with the fact that there's some nodes are gonna be, you know, just relying on that RNG aspect and getting these abilities off. I love the fact that her ultimate also is very, very powerful, right? I mean, attacking all enemies for an explosive amount of damage, additional focus, it's unavoidable, and also clears all positive effects. Doesn't unfortunately scale with the HP, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a huge debuff cleanser, and as well, just being able to do some much needed damage that's needed for this team. It's going to combine extremely well with Black Cat and Nova having that AoE kind of aspect. So aside from that, I mean, in her regular form, I do like the fact that her special, at least, is kind of a pseudo cleanse that does take her down. I mean, she applies stealth to allies, she has defense up, and then she's going to take away everything from our allies and put it on herself. And if she dies, her passive ability is triggered, right? So what is this passive ability? Let's take a look at it. It's super, super awesome. Just some much needed damage again, right? On spawn, attacking all enemies for 250% damage, as well as applying defense down. So naturally applies if that hits. So I mean, all in all, I think this team's going to work well together. It works with my traits and kind of what the gear I have right now being available. So that's the game plan right now, guys. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree or disagree. But so far, these 5, I think, are going to be able to get the job and bring us to the finish line here for that unlock of Super Skrull. I still think I have a couple weeks here of gear farming, but I'm really close to starting, so I'm slowly bringing these characters up, obviously to level 95, and then bringing them to gear tier 17 and 18. But once I get started, guys, I will keep you up to date. Thank you as always, and I appreciate you guys following along, and take care. See you guys in the next one.